You do the test, you think, okay, that went pretty well, and then you see it. Withheld. Your heart just sinks. What in the world does that mean? Did I fail? Is it all over? Let's figure this out right now.
All right, let's talk about the Oxford ELLT speaking test. If you're getting ready for it, you're probably worried about one thing, getting that withheld result. Well, today we're going to demystify the whole thing. I'm going to give you a super clear, step-by-step strategy for success so you can walk in there feeling confident.
So let's just tackle this head on, right? It's the thing that freaks everybody out. You do the test, you think, okay, that went pretty well, and then you see it. Withheld.
Okay, first things first, take a deep breath. The good news? Withheld does not mean you failed. It's not the end of the road. All it means is that your performance is being looked at again. Something you did might have seemed a little unnatural, or maybe not super confident. It could even be that your speaking seemed really different from your writing level. But the key thing to remember is this: it's just a review. It's not a final grade.
So, okay, why does this even happen? I mean, how do we avoid it? Well, to fix a problem, you've got to get to the root of it, right? And there's this one core issue that trips up so many students, and believe me, it has nothing to do with how many fancy vocabulary words you know.
And that brings us to this really big idea. See, there's a huge difference between knowing English and producing English. Knowing English is like having all the ingredients in your kitchen. You've got the grammar rules, the vocabulary lists. But producing English, that's actually baking the cake. It's using those ingredients to create something real, something natural, something spontaneous. And that's what the Oxford ELT is really testing. Not just what you know, but what you can do with it right there on the spot.
So what are these examiners actually on the lookout for? What are the big red flags? Well, first and foremost, reading from a script. That's a huge no-no. Another one is if your speaking sounds way weaker than your writing. Or if you just sound like you've memorized everything, totally rehearsed and robotic. And finally, just a lot of hesitation and really low confidence. Any of those things can get your test flagged for a review.
Okay, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. The most important part of this whole speaking test, and honestly, where most people get into trouble, is stage 2, the presentation. So right now, we're going to build a master plan for this, a simple, clear, and super effective strategy.
You don't need to get all fancy here. Forget those complicated structures you might have learned. For this 3 to 5 minute presentation, all you need is a simple 4-part plan. Ready? Intro, advantages, disadvantages, conclusion. That's it. It's super logical, and the examiners love it because it's so easy to follow your train of thought.
All right, let's break that down even further. We're going to turn that structure into a simple formula you can use every single time. Let's build this talk piece by piece.
First up, part 1, the intro. Your job here is super simple, but really important. Rule number 1, do not just repeat the question they give you. You need to rephrase it. Put the topic into your own words. Then, just tell them what you're going to do, what your plan is for the talk.
So, for instance, let's say the topic is about whether nursing education should be free. You could kick it off with something like this. See how natural that sounds? It's clear, and it perfectly lays out the roadmap for your talk. Doing this right at the start tells the examiner, hey, I get it, and I've got a plan.
Okay, on to the next part, your first body section. Here, you're only going to talk about the good stuff, the advantages. The trick is to give 1 or maybe 2 clear points. And listen, this is so important. You have to back up each point with a quick, simple example. It makes all the difference.
Starting off with a phrase like this just gets you right into it. And from there, you could add a little example. Something like, for instance, many talented students who have a passion for helping people just can't afford the high tuition fees. Boom. See? That tiny little addition just makes your whole point so much more powerful. All right, now let's flip the coin and look at the other side. Your second body section uses the exact same structure, but this time you're talking about the disadvantages. When you do this, you're showing them you're not just rattling off a list, you're showing them you can think critically, that you can build a balanced argument, and trust me, that's a huge skill they're looking for.
A simple little transition word like however works perfectly here. It signals you're changing direction. So you state the disadvantage, and then, you guessed it, follow it up with another quick example. Maybe something about how schools might not have enough money to hire the best teachers if nobody's paying tuition. Simple, effective.
And at last, we've reached the conclusion. You have 2 jobs here, and 2 jobs only. First, a super quick summary of what you just said, and second, and this is non-negotiable, you have to give your own balanced personal opinion. They specifically ask for your thoughts, so you can't skip this part. Something like this sentence here is just perfect. It nails it. It shows you've thought about both the pros and the cons, and you've come up with a thoughtful conclusion. Notice it's not super extreme, right? It's balanced, and that is exactly what they want to see.
Okay, I need you to listen very carefully to this part. This right here is the golden rule. Your notes are for keywords only. I repeat, keywords, not full sentences. If you write out a script and read it, I can almost guarantee you're going to get flagged. It is the single biggest mistake you can possibly make.
Okay, let's move on to stages 3 and 4. That whole idea we talked about, producing English, not just knowing it, well, it becomes even more important here. These stages are all about thinking on your feet. It's real, spontaneous conversation, whether you're talking about your essay or looking at a picture. The solid structure from stage 2 gave you a great foundation, but now it's time to really show what you can do.
So take stage 4, for instance. They'll flash an image like this one in front of you for only 15 seconds. That's it. It's not a lot of time, and that's by design. After that, the examiner will just start talking to you about it. Look, they don't want a perfect description of every single thing in the photo. They just want to see if you can use this picture to jump into a real, natural conversation.
So after you say a few things about the picture, the examiner might hit you with a question like this. See what just happened there? We went from describing a picture of a dog to a much bigger idea about friendship. This is where they really test your ability to speak on the fly. There's no script here, there's no right answer. The goal is just to share your thoughts clearly and with confidence.
So we've gone through a lot. What's the one thing I really want you to take away from all this? If you forget everything else, remember this. It's not about having a dictionary's worth of vocabulary. It's not about having flawless grammar. It's really about a basic change in how you think about the test.
And here it is, the most important point of all. An examiner would much rather hear you speak confidently, using simple, clear English, even if you make a few mistakes, than listen to someone read a perfectly memorized, robotic script. So just be yourself. Speak naturally, speak clearly, and always remember, confidence is so much more important than perfection. That is the real key to passing this test.